North Korea, President Trump pledging to end the war games on the Korean Peninsula as part of the deal for complete denuclearization.
We will be stopping the war games, which will save us a tremendous amount of money, unless and until we see that the future negotiation is not going along like it should. But we'll be saving a tremendous amount of money. Plus, I think it's very provocative.
But some say that that could be a dangerous move to make. North Korea analyst Gordon Chang agrees, and he's the author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes Over the World, and he joins me now live to talk more about this. So I wanted to bring you in today because yesterday I asked you about this. You know, this seemed to be the only concession really being made at this point. You said adamantly, let's just say adamantly, not a good idea. Why?
It's not a good idea because our exercises are meant to keep us in a high state of readiness. We need to be at that high state to deter North Korea or, God forbid, defend South Korea. And our readiness will erode very, very quickly. Now, if these negotiations on denuclearization take years, and that's possible, then we could basically have a hollow force, and that would tempt North Korea to invade.
Right. From what I understand, though, it's just a pause, right? It's just a pause in delaying them or stopping them for just a little while, suspending them. And there's already been one this year.
Yes. Well, you know, let's just take a look at these to see what we're really talking about.
2 year.
So we have two sets of exercises. The one, and the important one, Ultra Freedom Guardian, it's meant to coincide with North Korea's winter training cycle. So when they're at a high state of readiness, we're at a high state of readiness. These exercises take place in March. March is critical. That's when North Korea probably would attack because the ground in South Korea would still be frozen, be great for tanks, great for maneuver, and the South Koreans haven't flooded their fields yet for rice planting. So this is a really good time for North Korea to attack. And the problem is, I don't think President Trump got a commitment from the North Koreans to end their winter training cycle.
And that would be interesting. That would be the key to find out. If we're not going to do our training cycle, are they going to stop theirs as well? Listen to what Tom Cotton had to say. He was on Special Report last night, and he disagrees with you. Listen to him.
We just had the biggest single exercise each year, full eagle and hers in the spring. That probably won't happen for another 9 or 10 months until the spring of 2019. I think we'll have a pretty good read on whether Kim Jong-un is going to keep his commitments until then. Meanwhile, Secretary Mattis has said he was aware of this decision and he supports the decision. Regular, everyday training exercises will occur.
All right. So what do you think?
Yeah, of course. And of course, during the year, you do have some level of training.
Okay.
But we have these two major exercises that do coincide with when the North Koreans do them. The thing is, even if North Korea didn't have nukes, they'd still have chemical and biological agents. They would still have an estimated 14,300 artillery tubes just north of the demilitarized zone, which separates the two Koreas. And that doesn't change. So North Korea's forces, 70% of them are forward deployed on the DMZ, below the Pyongyang-Wonsan line. That's got to change. If we're going to suspend our exercises, North Korea's got to make a corresponding commitment to pull back.
Well, we'll see if maybe they get into that because we have continuing meetings going on, next week. What happens next in terms of the steps for diplomacy?
Well, I think President Trump is doing exactly the right thing here. We have Secretary of State Pompeo on the plane to South Korea to explain what just occurred. We need to coordinate with our allies. You know, and President Trump didn't waste any time, and that's absolutely the right way to proceed. And apparently, both Pompeo and National Security Advisor John Bolton are going to be talking to North Korean officials maybe as early as next week. So, you know, President Trump was absolutely right. He said this has got to occur quickly.
And in terms of everything that was laid out, the 4 key priorities yesterday with just that initial joint document, not enough for you, right? Not enough details at this point.
Yeah, but at this point,
was it meant to?
Yeah, what we're looking at really is a very preliminary document, and people criticize it, people defend it. We won't really know whether this is a good idea until these negotiations proceed and we figure out where they are. We do know the North Koreans are declaring this to be a victory for themselves. Propaganda right now in Pyongyang really is very corrosive, and it sort of undercuts our message that they really want to give up their nukes because they're not talking about that. But they are talking about the ending of the exercises. They are talking about all the concessions that President Trump made, and that is solidifying Kim's regime. That's okay as long as we get something in return.
Yeah, we're talking. That was so amazing, though. I mean, it was really an amazing sight. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gordon. Appreciate it.